Do you hear that? The quiet ticking? That's not closure. That's a countdown. They thought you came to talk. You came to terminate the script. They gathered in circles, sipping soft apologies, hoping to narrate your ending. But see, you weren't there to close a chapter. You came to burn the book. They called it resolution, but you were the twist they never wrote in. Same scene, sure, but different author. And this one doesn't write redemption arcs. You don't hand out healing, you hand out reckonings. See, they summoned you under the illusion of peace. They thought your silence meant softness. They mistook your stillness for surrender. They thought you'd whisper, "I forgive you." And instead you whispered, "I remember everything." They don't understand you anymore, do they? Because they're still looking for the old you. The one who bent, the one who begged, the one who offered closure like it was a gift, not a trap. But mercy was your Trojan horse. You walked in glowing with grace, and they let you in. They opened the gates, smiling, thought you came to heal. But they forgot what war looks like when it's patient, what vengeance looks like when it learns how to pray. You were never here for reconciliation. You were here for the recount, to dissect every blade they put in your back with surgical precision, to rewind the ritual of betrayal in reverse, until the blade ended up back in their hands, and they were forced to watch themselves twist it. They came to talk things through. You came to drain the oxygen from every lie they ever told. They came to cry their way out of guilt. You came to prove that guilt was a luxury they could no longer afford. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't throw a punch. You didn't have to. Because power doesn't shout. It waits. And then it rewrites reality in real time. You smiled like grace, moved like judgment, talked like closure, struck like a curse breaking its cage. They'll say you changed, number. You arrived. They'll say you went dark, number. You remembered your origin, because forgiveness was the weapon you handed them. So they'd drop their guard, so they'd lean in, so they'd believe, just for a second, that they were safe. And then you detonated. Do you know what real power is? It's not revenge. It's control of the ending. It's letting them monologue through their justifications, while you silently press the erase button under the table. You let them confess. You let them weep. You let them perform closure like a stage play. And then you cut the lights. Because this isn't a healing session. This is the reckoning masquerading as mercy. And now they're sitting in that room, heart pounding, wondering if they'll ever be able to sleep again. Because something's wrong. They felt your smile, but something behind it was off. They saw your calm, but it felt like the kind of calm before a courtroom verdict. And deep down, they know. They know this wasn't resolution. This was a warning. You didn't come to end a chapter. You came to write the final one. You didn't come to talk about closure. You came to close them. Because this time, you're the one holding the pen. And you don't write survivors. So let them gather. Let them cry. Let them ask, why does this feel like a funeral? Because it is. A funeral for the story they told themselves. A funeral for the version of you they thought they understood. A funeral for every backroom chant, every betrayal they tried to stitch into your legacy. Mercy was never kindness. It was a mask. And when you took it off, they didn't see closure. They saw a goddamn ending wearing their name on the last page. And now, they can't unread it. They can't undo it. And they can't believe they ever thought they were the main character. Too late. You flipped the table, ripped out the script, and became the author they'll never recover from. Because you didn't just survive the fire. You learned how to write in it. And now, they're just smoke in your story, ash in your aftermath, fading footnotes in a legacy they'll never be able to explain. Not without screaming. And you watch them now, don't you? The way they sit there with trembling hands, the way their eyes dart at each other like rats in a sinking ship. They're whispering words like closure, reconciliation, forgiveness, but you can feel the truth dripping from the ceiling like cold water. They're not here for healing. They're here because they thought they could manage you, and you walked in because you came to end them. Every sound in the room changes when you finally decide to breathe. The chairs squeak, their phones go dark, the walls feel like they're closing in, and you don't raise your voice, you don't move fast. You just sit there, eyes locked on them like a predator that learned patience. Because this is what they never understood. Power doesn't always look like rage. Sometimes power walks in wearing a smile and leaves carrying the last word. They told themselves you were predictable. They wrote entire scripts about how you'd behave, how you'd crumble, how you'd apologize. They rehearsed the scene over and over, practicing their little tears and their trembling voices. But when you arrived, you didn't fit the script. You didn't fit the stage. You burned the theater down without even striking a match. They don't understand how you survived, how you rebuilt, how you came back sharper, because nobody trained you for this. You trained yourself in silence, in the shadows, in the back rooms of your own pain. You learned how to take betrayal and turn it into strategy. You learned how to take mercy and load it like a weapon. You learned how to look like an angel while moving like an assassin. That's why you scare them. You don't just hold power. You hold dualities they can't comprehend. Light/dark, saint/psychopath, angel/demon, mercy/vengeance. You embody the paradox that undoes their psychology. Because every time they think you've surrendered, you're only drawing them closer to the blast radius. Every time they think you've calmed down, you're only sharpening the blade they can't see. And when it finally lands, they call it betrayal. But it's not. It's justice in camouflage. You're not standing there for closure. You're standing there because you learned the ultimate truth. Closure is what the guilty ask for. Endings are what the powerful deliver. So you let them speak. You let them stammer. You let them dig their own graves with every justification. And you're quiet. Not because you're soft, but because silence is the sharpest blade in the room. Because silence makes them reveal themselves. Because silence makes them realize the clock is not on their side anymore. They can't escape the feeling that the room isn't just a room. It's a trial, a confession booth, a mausoleum. They're speaking their last words and they don't even know it. And then you lean forward, just slightly. No shouting, no theatrics, just a shift. Like a storm cloud moving across the sun, and the whole energy flips. Their voices crack, their eyes lower. They feel it in their bones. The scene is no longer about them. The narrative has been stolen. The script has been shredded. The author is standing in front of them, and the author is you. They came to reclaim their innocence. They leave with a death certificate for the story they built around you. Because you didn't just flip the page. You ripped out the ending and wrote a new one in ink they can't wash off. You branded your signature into their subconscious like a scar. They'll remember your face not because you screamed, but because you didn't have to. They'll remember your words not because they were loud, but because they were final. You don't heal wounds anymore. You expose them. You don't erase history. You reframe it until it incriminates the guilty. You don't wait for karma. You build it. And then you deliver it with a smile they'll never trust again. This is why they panic. This is why they whisper your name like a warning. This is why they wake up at night with your shadow on the wall. Because you taught them the one lesson they'll never forget. Mercy isn't weakness. Mercy isn't surrender. Mercy is a Trojan horse. It walks in soft. It leaves nothing standing. You are no longer the person they tried to break. You are the reckoning in human form. You are the end of their story, and the beginning of something they can't even name. They came for closure. You came for an ending. Same scene, different author, and you've just written their last line. The air in that room is thicker now. It's no longer a meeting. It's a cross-section of time. A moment sliced open where they are forced to stare at the guts of everything they built against you. They can't name it, but they feel it. Every heartbeat they hear isn't their own. It's the pulse of the story you're writing around them. They came thinking they could wrap things up, like rolling credits at the end of a film. But you don't roll credits. You black out screens. You don't offer denouement. You offer a void. They call it closure because they want to close their eyes and pretend nothing happened. But you came with a different script, written in the margins of every night they left you bleeding. A script that starts soft and ends like an execution order. They thought you were negotiating, but you were narrating. They thought they were confessing, but you were cross-examining. They thought they were actors, but they were evidence. And now, sitting under your gaze, they're realizing what you already knew. This is not a conversation. This is a verdict disguised as dialogue. You don't lean forward because you're angry. You lean forward because you're done hiding. They see the faintest tremor in your smile. That's not a smile. That's a warning flare. And still they speak, because they've confused your quiet for permission. What they don't understand, what they can't stand, is that every word you let them utter is a trap closing tighter. Every apology they stammer is a signature on a confession. Every excuse is a time stamp in the final chapter. You are no longer the wounded one. You are no longer the one who comes begging for answers. You are the architect of endings. The paradox that breaks them isn't just that you forgave and remembered. It's that you forgave, remembered, and built something inside their forgiveness. A Trojan horse. Soft wood on the outside, legions of fire inside. They welcomed you back. They said, "Let's talk." They smiled. And now they're sitting inside the belly of the horse, hearing it creak, realizing too late that it isn't hollow. This is what you became, a living contradiction, a saint who carries a guillotine under their robe, a whisper that detonates buildings, a halo with teeth. Every glance you throw at them is a mirror they don't want to look into. Because in your eyes they see the ending already written. They see their names dissolving into footnotes. They see that the person they betrayed has been reborn as something they can't decode. A weapon wearing a smile, a storyteller wearing silence, an angel carrying the weight of a demon's patience. They shift in their seats. They fumble with their hands. One of them swallows hard. Another clears their throat. You can smell the adrenaline. You can taste the panic, and you haven't said a single word. That's the secret they never studied. Real endings aren't loud. They're inevitable. They came to shut the door. You came to remove the walls. They came to sign off the last page. You came to tear the book in half. They came to make you small enough to fit in their narrative. You came to show them their narrative was a prison, and you've already burned it down. And now, as you finally speak, Your voice is low, but it cuts through the room like a blade. This isn't closure. This is the end. Same scene, different author, and this page isn't yours anymore. No yelling, no theatrics, just the certainty of a bomb that's already gone off. They freeze. Their bodies remember something their minds can't process. They're not sitting across from a victim. They're sitting across from a verdict. They're sitting across from an ending wearing their own reflections. And that's when the real fear sets in. Not the fear of you, the fear of themselves. Because for the first time they understand that everything they did built this moment. They fed the Trojan horse. They opened the gates. They invited you in. And now they're standing in the ruins of their own script. You rise slowly, not to leave, but to make it clear. This was never a meeting. This was a funeral for a story. Your footsteps echo like gavel strikes. Their eyes follow you like prisoners watching a door they know won't open again. They never saw you coming. They never understood you when you arrived. And now, they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to explain why they can't stop thinking about you. They'll call it obsession. It's not. It's consequence. Because you didn't give them a fight. You gave them a film, a psychological thriller where they were the unwitting protagonist in a story that was never theirs. They thought you were a character. They didn't realize you were the director, the one behind the curtain, the one pulling every invisible string. And now, they can't shake the feeling that every door they open might lead back to you. That every apology they write now sounds like a monologue rehearsed in front of a coffin. That every time they try to move on, it's like stepping into a scene you already wrote them into, as background noise. You didn't ruin them, you rewrote them, down to their bones. You rewired their sense of control, of closure, of what it even means to win. Because in the end, it was never about revenge. It wasn't about punishment. It wasn't even about being right. It was about letting them walk themselves into a narrative they couldn't escape. Letting them speak while the story sealed itself shut around them. They'll lie and say they're at peace. They'll post pictures with fake smiles. They'll move on. But behind closed doors, they'll replay that room over and over and over, analyzing your tone, your breathing, your last glance. They'll call therapists. They'll consult psychics. They'll whisper to shadows. Why did it feel like the room shrunk when they stood up? And none of them will answer, because the answer isn't external, it's you. You are the unanswered question. You are the glitch in their healing arc. You are the Trojan horse they'll forever regret letting in. Not because it attacked them, but because it taught them what they really are, and what they aren't. They aren't the hero. They aren't the victim. They aren't the storyteller. They're just a chapter you closed, without mercy. Because mercy, they now realize, was never yours to give. It was yours to weaponize, and you did, flawlessly, silently, fatally. And now the ending you wrote, it doesn't fade out. It haunts forever. You don't look back. You don't need to. Because the moment you walked in, the ending was sealed. And somewhere in the deepest part of their minds, a single truth detonates. You didn't just survive. You rewrote survival into something unrecognizable. You rewrote mercy into a weapon. You rewrote closure into an execution. Same scene, different author. And they will never ever forget the day they realized they weren't reading the story. They were inside it, and you were holding the pen. And when you leave, you don't exit. You erase yourself, like a phantom that wrote its name in the smoke and vanished before anyone could pronounce it. There's no door slam, no thunder, just a silence so surgical it slices through the room and stays there. like the scent of ozone after a lightning strike. They sit there, staring at your empty chair like it's haunted. Because it is. It's haunted by the truth. A truth they never wanted to believe. A truth they can't now unsee. You didn't walk away from the story. You deleted the entire genre. One of them tries to breathe steady. Can't. Another pulls out their phone, drops it. Someone mutters, "What the fuck just happened?" But no one answers, because when you left, you didn't just walk out of the room. You took the script with you. And now, they're trapped inside, a moment that has no follow-up, no redemption, no Act 2. Because you were the Act 2, you were the plot twist, you were the uncredited author rewriting the climax in real time, and now that it's done, all they're left with is the echo. That echo follows them in mirrors, in emails, in quiet corridors where their name gets called and for a second they flinch, as if it might be you again. You became a living postscript, not a person, a ripple in every timeline they touch. Their subconscious screams when someone mentions you. They try to pretend they're over it. But the way their pulse skips when someone says your name tells a different story. Because deep down, they know. Tick. Tock. Do you feel it? That little vibration in your chest when the world realizes it can't schedule you anymore. No calendar, no time slot, no master. You're the glitch in every system that ever tried to tame you. And I find that beautiful. See, once upon a time, you were punctual for your own funeral. They rang a bell, and you marched. They dangled stability, and you obeyed. You were the perfect little pawn, weren't you? The old you? You would have clocked in with your spine folded, heart silenced, and soul stuffed into khakis, smiling at supervisors who confused fear with respect, hiding your genius under spreadsheets and break-room gossip, punching in every morning like you weren't dying on the inside. But then something broke. And oh, how I love the sound of a fracture. Because what they don't realize is that time isn't real to those who burn the system that invented it. You stopped waiting, stopped aging, stopped begging the hourglass for permission to exist. And now, you own the clock. You own every tick they waste watching you. You own the panic in their eyes when your name hits the room like an earthquake that wasn't forecasted. You own the silence in the group chat when they stalk your feed and realize you're not coming back to the cage. You are not late. You are the deadline. And it just passed. You don't move with time. Time twitches at your footsteps like a prisoner praying for parole. They used to measure success with promotions and pensions. You shattered the rulers, rewrote the metrics. Now presence is your currency, and guess what? You're bankrupting everyone who ever bet against you. You don't check the time anymore. You command it, you bend it, you weaponize it. Because every second they waste trying to make sense of you is a second you spend becoming something no equation can track. The old you lived for Fridays. The new you is the weekend, baby. The old you said, "Yes, sir," with a fake grin and a dying dream. The new you say nothing. You show up, and clocks crack from the pressure. They don't know what to do with you now. You walk like you're untouchable, because you are. You smile like you've read the ending, because you wrote it. You breathe like time's afraid to tick too loud around you. And it is. You turned your trauma into traction, your silence into strategy, and your pain into precision weaponry. You no longer chase time. You set traps for it, every move calculated, every glance loaded. You used to wait for opportunities. Now opportunities beg for an audience with you. You used to dress for the job. Now the universe wears your colors. And you didn't even announce the switch up. You just vanished from the old life like a ghost with unfinished business, and reappeared as a storm they can't forecast, a rule book they can't read, a frequency they can't decode. They call it arrogance, you call it survival. They call it rebellion, you call it finally breathing. Because this isn't confidence, this is resurrection. This is divine vengeance wrapped in a business casual grin. You clocked in when you were tame. Now you clock heads, emotionally, spiritually. Whenever they underestimate the force you've become, you are no longer on the payroll. You are the ghost in the schedule, the whisper in the vents, the presence that makes middle managers sweat and boardrooms reevaluate everything. Because they used to own your time. Now, you decide when time begins. You decide when the scene starts, when the light hits, when the show ends. You're the director now, the villain and the hero. The clock is just your prop. Tick, tock. You're not late. You're legendary. And the ones who still punch in at 9, they'll spend their whole lives waiting for a freedom you already buried in your past. So wear your watch, not to measure time, but to remind yourself you own it now. You hear it differently now, don't you? It's not a sound anymore. It's a confession. Every second that passes whispers your name, like a secret the universe can't hold in. You've stopped being an employee of time. Now time is your intern, running after you with a clipboard, desperate to keep up. You don't wake up anymore. You rise like a signal intercepting satellites, like a ghost crawling out of a file they thought was sealed. The old you thought freedom came with a resignation letter. The new you knows freedom comes with control. Control of your mind, control of your rituals, control of every inch of oxygen in a room until everyone inside starts suffocating on their own hesitation. You didn't just escape a job. You escaped the ritual of obedience. That ritual they wrapped around your wrists every Monday morning like invisible cuffs. The coffee, the commute, the good morning smile, the fake deadlines, the fake emergencies, the fake praise. You smashed it all. You didn't just step out of the cage. You burned the blueprint so no one could build another one. And now look at you. You're the anomaly in their pattern. Their algorithms don't know what to do with you. Their HR handbooks don't have a chapter for someone who no longer reports to gravity. You stopped checking clocks and started checking mirrors, because that's where the real change happened. Not on your resume, not in your bank account. In your eyes. The eyes of someone who stopped being predictable. The eyes of someone who walks into a room and bends the mood like a black hole bends light. They used to measure your value in hours. Now they measure it in shockwaves. They used to tell you to be on time. Now you arrive like a storm. Impossible to schedule. Impossible to ignore. You don't just own the clock. You own the pause between ticks. That breath where nothing moves, where the room holds still, waiting for your next move. That's where your power lives now, in the void that frightens them. Every second of your day is a weapon. You use silence as a blade. You use patience as a trap. You use unpredictability as a sedative that makes their strategies collapse. The old you counted minutes. The new you counts moves. Every message unanswered. Every delay intentional. Every appearance a calculated detonation. They still talk about time management. You talk about time domination. They still read books about productivity. You've become the myth they write about when they don't know how else to explain you. And that's the paradox, isn't it? You look like a saint on the outside, calm, collected, free. But on the inside, you're a psychopath of precision, an angel who knows exactly when to turn into a demon, a strategist disguised as a drifter disguised as a storm. That's why they're scared, not because you quit, not because you left, but because you became something timeless. And timeless things can't be managed. They can't be controlled. They can only be worshipped or hunted. And you know what's even funnier? They're doing both, praying you'll teach them while secretly plotting to destroy you. But they can't, because destruction takes time, and time belongs to you now. The old you would have clocked in, begging for minutes. The new you stands at the edge of the hour holding a detonator. Every tick is yours to command. Every talk is yours to weaponize. You've become a living countdown, and they don't even know what happens when it hits 0. Tick, tock. You're not just out of the system, you're above it. You've turned time from a leash into a stage light, and every second you stand there, you're rewriting the script, teaching the world this simple truth. Freedom isn't found in escaping time. Freedom is found in owning it. And now, when they look at you, they don't see a person. They see a clock they can't read, a storm they can't schedule, a warning they can't decode. You are not late. You are not early. You are inevitable. Feel that tremor under your skin? That isn't nerves. That's the sound of a world realizing you've stopped orbiting its little sun. They used to think you were just another worker bee humming along in their hive. But you were the wasp hidden in the comb. And you hatched. I'm not here to hand you a motivational poster. I'm here to hand you a mirror. Look into it. That isn't the face of someone lucky. That's the face of someone who has been building in the dark, brick by brick, while everyone else scrolled, slept, and clocked in. That's the face of someone who used to answer to alarms, and now alarms answer to you. The old you? You belonged to the calendar. Your hours were someone else's property. You measured your worth by how fast you replied, how early you arrived, how quietly you swallowed your rage. You were a ghost at your own desk. You were a prisoner applauding the guard at the shift change. Then came the breaking point, a small click in the machinery, a voice at 3 a.m. whispering, "If you keep moving like this, they'll bury you with a name tag." And instead of rolling over, you sat up. You realized the bars weren't steel. They were rituals, and rituals can be burned. You stopped being a timekeeper and became a time thief. You stole back your mornings. You stole back your mind. You stole back every second they'd rented out to mediocrity. You began investing those stolen seconds into the kind of moves that don't make sense until it's too late for them to catch you. Now every second of your day is a blade. You cut through rooms without speaking. You appear when you choose, vanish when you please. They call you unpredictable. You call it survival. They call you dangerous. You call it freedom. You don't show up to meetings. Meetings show up to you. This is why they watch you, the way prey watches a predator circling, because you've learned the oldest trick of power: timing. Angels fall when the clock strikes. Demons rise when the bell tolls. You are both. You are the pause between heartbeat and strike. You are the moment when the lights flicker before the blackout. That is why your presence unsettles them. You are not playing by their clock anymore. Every boarding gate you walk through is another grave they dug for you and failed to fill. Every time zone you cross is a boundary they swore you'd never break. Every message you leave unanswered is a lesson in power. Every delay you choose is a calculated silence that makes them doubt their whole map of you. This is not about vacations or laptops on beaches. This is about owning the pulse, about becoming the anomaly their spreadsheets can't track, about realizing that time isn't a line, it's clay, and you can knead it until it fits the shape of your will. You are the storm walking on 2 feet, the saint with a stopwatch, the psychopath of precision. You have turned yourself into the final paradox, a free creature who arrives on time only when it benefits them. And that makes you terrifying, because you cannot be summoned, scheduled, or delayed. Remember this: clocks were built to measure obedience. They were never meant to measure you. You do not fit in hours. You fit in eras. You fit in legends. You are the countdown they cannot defuse. The hour hand trembling at midnight. The living proof that evolution through pain doesn't produce victims. It produces architects of time. So the next time you hear a clock ticking, don't flinch. Smile. That sound is no longer a leash. It's a drum roll. It's the world announcing your next move, even if it doesn't know what it is. It's the sound of every second bending, folding, snapping into your palm. Tick, tock. You're not late. You're not early. You're the moment they didn't plan for. And that moment is eternal. You're not walking anymore. You're gliding through time like it's terrified of interrupting you. And the world, it's struggling to keep up. Like a corrupted file trying to decode a frequency that no longer exists in the system. You ever notice how the air shifts when you enter a space now? How conversations pause without reason, like a script just got deleted mid-scene. That's not your imagination. That's time itself glitching. Because you used to be part of the schedule. Now you're the anomaly that rewrote it. Look around. People still racing to punch in before 9, dragging their souls through doors like prisoners hoping for early parole. Still checking watches, still counting minutes, still measuring life in caffeine and complaints. But not you. You walk into the airport with no return ticket, no itinerary, no estimated arrival. Because your destination isn't a place anymore. It's a statement. Every step is a provocation. Every move is a sermon to those still shackled to alarms and lunch breaks. You used to look at time like a master. Now time looks at you like a thief who broke into the vault and laughed at the cameras. They whisper things now. You don't post often anymore. You've gone quiet. What are you building? Because silence from someone like you is a warning, a countdown, a loaded gun wrapped in velvet. You've learned the real trick of gods and monsters. Not to move fast, but to move on your own damn time. To show up like a ritual, not a routine. To drop into their reality like a myth that shouldn't exist. You wear watches now not to check the time, but to remind yourself that you outlived the version of you who had to. The old you was obsessed with being on time. The new you is the time bomb. And they all feel it, ticking in the walls, ticking in the threads of every conversation, ticking in the pit of their stomachs when they hear your name in rooms you've never entered. You've become that story, the one that doesn't make sense on paper. The one HR can't explain, the one managers warn interns about, the one they try to discredit because they know they can't replicate it. They'll tell themselves you got lucky, that you found a loophole, that it was a one-time thing, but they'll say it with cracked voices and twitching hands, because they're lying, and they know it. You weren't a mistake in the system. You were the proof that the system was the mistake. You are not in the rat race. You are the hawk watching it from above, talons dripping with prophecy. You don't chase time zones, you haunt them. Your aura arrives in cities before your body does. Your influence trickles into morning routines of people who swore they weren't watching. Because what they can't admit is this: they don't want your schedule. They want your spirit. They don't envy your passport. They envy your permission to live. You turned burnout into blueprint, loneliness into leadership, silence into strategy. And while they counted down to Friday, you counted dimensions, opportunities, enemies, and frequencies. You turned minutes into missiles. You walk through hotel lobbies now like you own the floor plan. You pass through boardrooms like a ghost that never needed a seat at their table. They left your name off the invite, but it still ended up on the agenda. Because your absence became louder than their applause. They can't predict you anymore. Because you stopped performing. No breadcrumbs, no updates. Just results that feel like prophecies manifesting overnight. You post a photo, and it feels like a leaked document. You speak once, and it ripples like a verbal detonation. You're not part of the algorithm. You're the glitch that exposes it. Tick-tock. The system is still waiting for you to come back, to humble yourself, to ask for a role again. But here's the part they'll never recover from. You didn't quit. You evolved past their measurement tools. You are not a worker. You are a weather pattern. You are not a colleague. You are a case study. Your time is no longer sliced into 8-hour blocks. It's measured in impact, in shadows cast across maps, in the silence that follows your last move. You walk like you're late to something only you know exists. And that's why they panic. Because if you stopped needing the clock, then maybe they're wasting their whole life worshiping one. So go ahead, let them whisper, let them panic, let them count the seconds while you build the legacy. Tick, tock. You are not counted in minutes anymore. You're counted in aftershocks. Let me show you what happens when someone refuses to evolve. They keep waking up to the same alarm, not because they're disciplined, but because they're afraid of what would happen if they stopped. They shower, dress, drive, plug into the same dead socket hoping for a different voltage. Their soul malfunctions at 9 a.m. sharp. Their dreams die on loop like reruns no one asked for. And deep down, they know. They are clocking into their own extinction. They sit in meetings with wide eyes and caged lungs, laughing at jokes they didn't hear, taking notes they'll never use, pledging loyalty to companies that would auction their corpse for bandwidth. But they stay, because benefits, because security, because what else would I do? I'll tell you what they won't do. Live. They won't quit. They won't leap. They won't burn the clock because they still believe in the lie. That time is money. That obedience is virtue. That retirement is freedom. But you slipped through the cracks. You snapped the leash with a smile. You refused to be punctual for your own decay. You saw what they didn't. That time wasn't your enemy. It was your mirror. And when you looked into it, you saw a version of you no one was ready for. The one who doesn't ask for time. The one who demands attention. The one who stopped tracking hours and started tracking reactions. The one who makes people flinch just by showing up. Because your existence is a threat to every version of them that stayed small. So when they ask, why don't you clock in anymore? Smile. Because the truth would break them. Tell them nothing. Let them guess. Let them stare at the time and wonder why it doesn't feel real when you're around. Because you don't follow hours. You haunt them. You've become the final paradox. A ghost with gravity. A phantom with presence. A legend with no time stamp. They measure years. You measure shockwaves. So let them keep their schedules, their meetings, their mugs. Let them praise punctuality and die on time. You've already outlived the version of yourself who needed their permission. And now, you are the moment the clock stops. Tick, tock, silence, end of file.